Hello, welcome, how are you? Join me on a very last minute, I booked this place when I was leaving, road trip. The weather was a little chilly, but I pretty much had this beach to myself, and I'd say that is just about perfect.
Good morning. Yesterday I did this last minute trip to a little town in Michigan. I just got this feeling like I had to do it. I've been thinking of doing this for a little while. It's my first trip alone with my pup like this. I don't know, this isn't how I used to be, but I've just had a few fears and anticipations that I had to kind of move through. So scheduling this was really helpful for that. Even just leaving him alone in the car when I have to run in and do things that are inevitable when you're traveling and when you're alone with a dog. So I picked a place that I'm familiar with, that I know I'm safe. So we just woke up and feeling so good about everything so far. We're going to get coffee at this little coffee place and walk on the beach. And then we'll come back and kind of get ready and he can have his breakfast. And I feel so much better than I did when I was in the car starting to come here. I don't know, I've just been really sensitive lately and I don't know what it is. It's like I haven't been anxious like this in 10 years. And I just knew that, you know, sometimes we need to understand what our fear is telling us, but sometimes we need to say, all right, you're big, I see you, I hear you, but I gotta walk through you because you're not real. And so that is a little bit what this trip is about. It's also just about being together and taking a deep breath, having some solitude, and going to this beautiful beach that I will show you in just a little bit. Oh, and I'll have to tell you about the red fox I saw last night. So magical.
I did not know there was a fox when I was taking this video, but you can see at the very end the fox as it runs along, and I didn't know until after I rewatched it that I could actually see it in the video. Can you believe this? A red fox symbolizes self-discovery and transformation, adaptability, curiosity, playfulness to the spiritual realm, and trusting your inner wisdom. Sign received. I had planned to go to this really cute coffee shop that I love going to up in this area, and when I got there, it was closed. I was so bummed. Also noticed that my favorite ice cream shop was also closed. As I am trying to explain it to you here in this video, I didn't know that for some reason my audio wasn't working. But yes, essentially I am sharing with you that I had to make a little pivot this morning, but I knew that I needed to come and walk on this beach because it's one of my favorite ways to start a morning in this area. I freaking love making waffles in hotel waffle makers. And although this place did not have a waffle maker, look at this pancake maker. This is the first time, never seen anything like this. But all you do is wave your hand in front of it and then it starts making it and you get 2 pancakes. In my general life, I am plant-based, so I don't eat stuff like this, and I'm also very mindful of what I eat, especially just because I get a lot of migraines and food plays a big role in that. But once in a while, especially when I'm traveling, I do what I do. I will eat things that are more vegetarian versus just plant-based. This is one of those moments. One of the things I love about these, still talking about them, is I love the smell. I love the process of it. It's probably something that I must have done as a kid for the first time, not in my mom's kitchen, got to do it myself. And I'm gonna be honest, they're not that bad. My first bite, I was like, these just taste like paper, but now I kind of like it in a really weird way. One of the reasons I really had to plan this trip was also simply because I think I've lived in 4 or 5 states now. 5 states? Number 5 is. Anyway, I've lived in 5 states. I have moved across the country 3 times. I've lived in 2 countries. One of those times I moved across the country, I drove alone, okay? I am somebody who is brave. I follow the instincts that light me up. I know this. I know this about me. And in human design, I'm a manifesting generator, if you know what that is. I didn't know about that for a long time, but when I learned about it, I was like, oh, that all makes sense. Like, that's part of why I've done those things, why I follow through on it. I have just been in this survival place, I think, since my dad died. And I don't know how to describe it, but it's like I discovered these things that really
feel safe and comfortable to me. And a part of me is like, okay, is this what happens when we, I hate this word, but like when we age as time goes by in our lives? Because this is like very out of character for me to choose the thing that's comfortable. And I do think that there's something significant and important about that, because I want to have a home base. I don't want to keep moving around. I want to have a community, you know, all of that. I guess I've also been trying to figure out, like, I know that this is not the place for me. I've never felt lit up here. I've never felt inspired or ambitious, and I'm just not gonna live in the place of like, just stay somewhere long enough, make it work. You know, I've lived here for many, many years of my life, back and forth, and I don't want to put my energy into convincing myself that I can be happy somewhere when it's like an ex, when you're like, I love you, I love our time together, but I know that it is time for me to move forward. And it's weird. I guess the thing that this all comes down to, and a little bit about my makeup's going on differently because I didn't just like put everything on so my face isn't so dewy. The thing that I'm a little bit caught up on though is how much anxiety I have had over doing anything. I had really, really bad anxiety 10 to 15 years ago. And I actually didn't even know like that's what my problem was until I went to a doctor because it got so bad. I haven't felt anxiety like that until recently. And I also kind of have gotten out of the place of like, well, if I just figure out what it is, I'll be able to fix it. This is where like mental health stuff, in my opinion, weaves its way through our experiences. And it's sometimes beyond A plus B equals C. Like if we do this, then this will happen. We wouldn't have anxiety, depression, things like that if it was a choice. I do think there's so much I can do to help myself, and I do that. We have a responsibility within it. We have to take responsibility and take initiative for ourselves and our experiences. But I also think that sometimes we need to just say, okay, today is a hard day, or it feels anxious, and sometimes just like accept that for what it is in that moment, and not allowing it to take over, but just allowing it to be for a moment and observe it. And that's what I was kind of doing. But now I'm like, okay, it is time to walk through these fears and walk through these anxieties. And now scheduling this trip this weekend was an opportunity for me to walk through some fears that feel they are not in alignment for me. They are not authentic to me. And I know that. I also know that it just kind of got to a place where I had to take the action. I had to book the trip. It's so much more than just getting away for a weekend. That's what makes me really grateful for doing this. Even if the coffee shop and the ice cream store and the little moments that I came up here for that feel so nostalgic and, you know, comforting to me, I grew up going to with my family, they're not open, but it's not about those either. It is like, you know, clearing away the things that aren't me and connecting back to me again, allowing myself to just be in the experience I'm having without beating myself up, without having any shame or guilt or whatever has come up in the past. So I feel really grateful to just have done this, to have walked through the fear. And truthfully, I was having some pretty wicked anxiety on my way here, and it wasn't about being here or anything. It was like anxiety from driving. I've totaled my car in a car accident, and what's weird is I thought that I had worked through a lot of that, but for some reason, it's like anything I've ever been scared of is just rising to the surface right now. I am hopeful that means it's all going to be released, but I feel so excited that my time here so far has felt so good with just me and my pup and our beach walk and just like taking a little quiet time just now in the room and allowing myself to say just what do I need right now and not have this like overplanned, overdone weekend. We just needed to be alone and be in nature and allow ourselves to be totally fluid in that experience. What is a piece of makeup or like part of your makeup routine that is a non-negotiable for you, like that you have to have? I think that a Q-tip is one of them for me. I'm gonna think about the rest, but I have always felt like Q-tips are a non-negotiable because they are the things that help with the little tiny details when you miss something. Adventure ready. I haven't had a full-length mirror in my house in so long, and yeah, it's kind of funny. And it's funny to see him looking in a mirror because he's like, who are those people? Who's that doggy? I'm the kind of person, I know that some of my overwhelm is because I've spent the last year researching behind a screen, and like ultimately that's not it for me. I need to go and be in environments and feel them, feel myself in them, feel the energy, all of that. That's why I did this. I'm like, I can just scratch the surface. This doesn't have to be a life-changing trip in the sense of like where or what it is. I just needed to go. I just needed to go somewhere. And I am so glad I did. Yeah, we're just gonna watch the beach. We're gonna watch it. It turns out that this really is what I needed, and I am so grateful that I listened to my intuition. There was just this quiet message I was receiving that I needed to get in the car, I needed to go away, I needed to do this for myself. And I did it. And I'll share more next week on my reflections post-trip and how I'm feeling now. But I am just reminded of how important it is to tune in to our intuition and to connect to that, because whenever I'm feeling disconnected, it's always because I have lost the connection to myself. It is because I've allowed my focus and my attention to be too much about the things outside of me and not the things within. And this weekend really helped me to reconnect in exactly the way I needed. Thank you so much for spending the weekend with me, and I can't wait to chat with you next time. Bye.